considered conducting DNA tests on soon-to-be married partners to be sure that they are not siblings?
There has been this hula baloo about men conducting DNA tests on their children to be sure that they are actually theirs. Have we considered conducting DNA tests on soon to be married partners to be sure that they are not siblings? Shocker, right? But it's actually worth considering, and I'm going to show you what I actually mean. You're aware that most adoptions are not always documented, so I don't want to call it illegal. I just want to say that most adoptions are actually, not formal, informal adoption. So a girl gets pregnant, goes to one hospital, gives birth, and they have already made contact with the adoptive parents, people interested in adopting the child, and they come pick up the child and into thin air. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, this girl that was maybe 16 at that time, that had actually she has actually grown, then gets married, gives birth to children, and okay, at the long run, the world is a global village. You mix with people. Now you now see someone you like and you're interested in getting married to him or to her. Now, have we thought of a possibility that this child, the child that was actually given away for adoption, is actually the one who is marrying his sister from the same mother? Have we thought of that? Because it's actually very possible that this, okay, let me give an instance. I actually know someone who, when she was 16 years, she got pregnant, and her father threatened her that he would kill her. So she had to leave the house, well, under the supervision of the mom. Now she went and stayed with the grandmom for the period of the pregnancy. They had already made contact with a family that was actually willing to adopt the child. So when the delivery was due, the child was delivered, the family came with their car, took the child, and when you don't even know where I actually don't know. I don't even know if the woman, that's the girl, still remembers even the name of those couple, where they are from, and years have gone by. She's now married, she has children. I don't know the sex of the child. Okay, let's say prevention, the sex of the child is male. The child is male. Now, this lady has actually given birth to both male and female children. In the long run, we now know that, people mix. You can meet in school, you can meet in restaurants, you can meet anywhere, even leave the country, meet people outside. So there's a huge likelihood that when these kids grow up, they want the kids that this lady has with her husband grow up, the female children grow up, go to university. It's possible that one of the daughters could actually meet and fall in love with that child, with that boy that has now grown. Now the boy's identity is that of the adoptive parents, and he may not have even been told that he was adopted, or maybe told, but he wouldn't even know his parents, because there was no communication, there was no in fact, it's majorly communication, number one. Then number two is that, okay, there's no documentation as per, okay, this is the name and of your parents, of your mother, that's your biological mother, this is where she is from, and maybe contact of to communicate, so that in future you can now meet her, to avoid things like this, and also just for you to know, since you want to know your biological mother. Now, they have grown up, now they meet and they now want to get married. They will definitely come to meet the mother of the girl. Now, Mr. Man, where are you from? He will say he's from where the parents, the adoptive parents, are from. Would you go along to? We don't even ask where you're adopted. We don't ask that. It's actually somehow rude in our community. I won't really say just African. I think I've not heard in the European or American culture where you can ask someone, okay, your parents were you adopted, except the person actually says it. You will not go ahead to ask that kind of question. It's assumed that, okay, you say these people are your parents, you've lived with them all your life and all that. We accept that they're your parents, and they come forward and say they're your parents, so why should I ask you? Now we conduct every other test, genotype, blood group, STDs and all that, and we leave out DNA test. Now, normally, if you know, okay, like my brother, it's clear, you're my brother, no, he can't get married. Simple. Okay, my mom's sister's children, no. My dad's sister's children, brother's children, no. We know that it's clear. What of the ones that are actually latent? These ones that actually go by without being noticed because we don't put our minds to them. How do we address such situations? So now we have a plethora of tests that can be run before marriage to ascertain some things that are really, pertinent, that can be life-threatening, that can be, transferred to children, to avoid issues that touch the heart. We conduct those tests. Now, if we will not consciously get married to our siblings, have we unconsciously been married to our siblings? Have you thought of that? In this situation, it's very possible. I actually use this situation as more like something that we can relate to, because there are other instances. Yes. What of the situation of child trafficking? You have children, and maybe one day they say someone kidnapped your child, and that you won't see that child ever. Then the child survives over there, starts a life, have a life, then can't even trace to his parents and all that. Then just decides to nationalize in that country, and that is it. New life, new identity. He cannot, he doesn't know his roots. So he meets someone who is actually his sister, he meets someone who is his sister, she meets someone who is her brother without knowing. And all these things cannot really show on the face. They're even identical. If you say, okay, they're identical with regards to siblings, you always have this semblance with the siblings, but they are actually siblings that are not so obviously, like, they don't actually obviously resemble each other until you are told, okay, this is this person's sibling. You will now start seeing the semblance. So there are different scenarios that actually can play out that we will actually not be able to detect on the surface level that this person is related to this person. So since the DNA test and we are pushing them for children, be sure that this is actually your children. I wish you that is actually pushing. I'm not against or I'm for that. I'm actually making another submission. It's just that I started with this. We should also employ this DNA test thing to ascertain whether couples are actually siblings, because there's something actually that we're trying to avoid, right? That we will not marry siblings, we don't marry our siblings, incest, and we have the negative effects of incest, and morally, spiritually, even sociological and all that. So since we will not intentionally commit incest, can't we also consider that we are unintentionally committing incest? Because I am sure that somebody somewhere is married to their sibling. Like, I am so sure that somebody, even if it's just one person in the whole world, not intentionally, I'm not talking of those who intentionally actually went into it, but those who actually didn't know in this kind of scenario that I actually narrated, someone somewhere is actually not aware that his wife or her husband is actually related, like brothers and sisters. So I actually won't know what will happen if you find out. That's why I didn't say married couples should actually find out to avoid disaster. I'm not in that lane. I actually don't have anything to say regards to that. But I'm, the ones that we can prevent is actually worth preventing. So for those who are actually soon to be married, you conduct different tests. Genotype can stop you from getting married, right? If you're SS, AS, no. AS, no. So if that can happen for genotype, if that can happen for what? If you have HIV, you may not go into the marriage and all that. Then if a test can stop marriage, this DNA test can also stop it. Yes. So don't tell me I'm too in love with my, not knowing that, like with my sister, with my brother, not knowing that it's actually my sister, and because of that, let me just, damn it. The way you would give up the marriage because we are ASs. That's the way you also consider giving up that marriage because you are getting married to your sibling. Who? So yeah, so I'm just positive. Well, I say positive, or okay, I am submitting this I call it argument or obvious scenario that actually is happening without us knowing. Like, it's really happening around. So we should actually we can imbibe it. We can actually imbibe it if it's something that we actually don't want to, like it's something that nobody want to do. So if you would want to get married to your sibling, then you should actually do a DNA test.